Thank you, everybody. My name is Bob Jones. I'm a business consultant out of our Columbia office, and I guess you're all ready to start a business. Now, the services that we offer everybody is a no-cost confidential counseling service to any small businesses, and we have 21 offices currently in South Carolina. We help with business planning, we help with financial marketing, etc. Everything you need, we're here to help you. We also offer training as we're doing this right now. So the first thing to ask yourself is owning a business the right choice for you? The problem with many small businesses is they don't realize how much effort it is to get a business started. A friend of mine once said it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And it can be a 24/7 lifestyle when you're first starting out. And the key attribute you need to have is, are you a self-starter? Can you make your own decisions? Are you able to assume responsibility and accept a high level of risk? You're going to need to have the support of your family, friends, or others that are close to you. It's going to take a lot of energy. Again, it's a 24/7 type job, and you need to be organized. And again, we can help you with some of this, but a lot of this is your own personal abilities. So you start with market research and find the answers to these questions. Who's going to buy my product or service that I plan to provide? Can I describe one of these customers? And it's a good thing is just pick a typical customer and describe them and see if they would be a good candidate for your products. You need to understand your local competition, and also, depending on your product, if you have competitors throughout the world, actually. Is there a current demand for your product or service? Do you have a niche that you're trying to get into? And what is the trend for that demand? Is the demand going up? Is it going down? So those are the things you need to keep in mind as you're starting your business. So we need to develop a marketing plan. And the purpose of the marketing plan is to determine what your purpose is for the business and what is your why. What are the products you're selling? What is going to be your pricing strategy? And what is going to be your selling strategy? The products you're selling, you need to understand how customers will find you. Just sticking a website out there, no one's going to know to go to your website. So you need to understand how you're going to find you, or how your customers will find you. It's also important to understand your suppliers, because suppliers can be a strong part of your pricing strategy or your profit. And are you going to be an online, a storefront, or a service business? The other question you should ask yourself is, how are you going to fund your company? Is it going to be an equity, a debt, or credit? Equity is your own savings, family and friends, can even be outside investors who want to have a financial interest in the business. Debt is always borrowed money. Banks will lend money to startups, but it's more difficult for a startup, but we do have some lenders that will help. Loans from family and friends are also debt, but you should never count on grants for a startup. Very, very few grants are given to startups. And then your credit is the reputation you have for handling finances wisely. So let's talk about credit. You have personal credit and business credit. And as a startup, you don't have any business credit. It's all your personal credit. And you must know your credit history. And you can get your credit reports from either this annualcreditreport.com or some of these other credits. You usually can get a credit report, at least a simplified one, from your credit card company or from your bank. So what's the 5 C's of business credit? Capital, equity, how much do you have invested? What is known as what is the skin in the game? What is your skin in the game? Your capacity, your ability to pay the debt back. That's very important. And often in startups, the best thing to do is to keep your day job, work the startup, and at some point when your startup is generating enough funds, then you can quit your day job. The other thing is collateral. What collateral do you have? What property do you have that could be used to secure a loan? And then sometimes you can negotiate conditions and terms on the loan, because all banks want, obviously, is to get their money back. And then there's a lot of confidence goes into this, that the lender needs to know that that the ongoing business is going to be successful. And then the next thing you do is you choose a business structure. You want to be a sole proprietor, which means you have no recourse on liabilities. You're responsible for everything. Therefore, we recommend at least starting out as an LLC. If you're going to take a lot of outside funding from people you don't know, you might want to become an S Corp or a C Corp. And both of those require attorneys to help you. The LLC does not. Then the next thing is to choose a business name. Well, you can identify your brand with the business. I mean, no one would have thought Apple Computer would make a good name for a computer company, but it works. Is the name available? And we'll go through some of this. Go to sos.sc.gov, which is the Secretary of State for South Carolina. Are you going to want to trademark your name? And you can find out if there's existing trademarks through this .gov website. Does the name work well on the web? Is it so long that nobody's going to be able to type it in, or cause other issues when you're on the web? Is there a URL available? And then, of course, you register your business with the Secretary of State. So one of the things to do is go to this www.scbos.sc.gov website. And I'm going to go to that briefly in a minute or so. And it just kind of helps you walk through what all the tasks are in starting a business. But you will also need to apply for your tax ID or EIN, and the business, use that in the business instead of your Social Security number. You'll need to open a business checking account, but you need to have your registration with the Secretary of State and your EIN before you do that. Often it's good to ask for a business debit card or credit card so you can start establishing credit. And it also helps you manage your cash flow. So let me briefly stop sharing this. I'm going to pull up this 9-step guide on how to start your business. So this 9-step guide is really a quick way to make sure you're doing everything you need to do to be successful. The research and planning phase, registering with the Secretary of State. So if you click on these, what will happen, it'll tell you what you need to do. And the simplest way is to go to this sos.sc.gov. What it'll do is ask you to do your business entities online, and then start a new business filing. And then you can find out if your name is available or not. Let's just say so that name's not available because a lot of people have that name. It's a pretty common name. So you would need to pick another name. And then the next thing you would do is you would do your EIN. The EIN, make sure you go to ein.gov website, because just click on that first. The EIN, you go to an irs.gov website because there's people that will charge you for something that's free. The EIN is a free service from the government because they will get you later in taxes. The other thing that's very important is to choose your location. Depending on where you live or where the business is, you may have to pay 1 or 2 or no business tax to get a business license. But for example, if you're in the city of Columbia, you have to pay a Columbia business license and a Richland County business license. If you're going to hire people, there's a lot of things you need to do to make sure you do it right. And so we can help you with that too if you decide you're going to hire people. I recommend not hiring people as long as possible, but if you need people, you need to hire them. Sales tax. Depending on the type of product you will probably have to have a sales tax license. And the best way to get this is through this website called My Doorway. And the rest of this is things that we should talk about when you meet with us, and not quite as critical. What I just went through will get you started in your business. There will also be, depending on where you are, you're going to have other licenses and permits that you may need to get. So make sure you check everything out with the planning and zoning board of your where your facility or your business is located. We talked about getting a city or county business license, and maybe both. If you're doing anything at all with food, you're going to need to go to DHEC. There's professional licenses required for barbers, hairdressers, and others. You may need a contractor's license. So just make sure that you've covered all your bases on your licensing. So what's your game plan? You may not need a retail or a storefront if you're just doing a small business that is home-based. But if you are doing a business with a storefront or something like that, then you're going to need some money, more money. And that money is known as owner equity if it's your money. And depending on how much money you need, you're going to need to have a down payment for that with that money. And we will help you develop a cash flow plan and a marketing plan that you can use to get your money from the lenders. And if you're a really large startup enterprise, you may need to be investor financed, because those types of businesses banks do not want to give money to, but there's investors out there that will give you money, but you need a very extensive business plan if you do that, probably over 50 pages. So it is your business plan. And one of the things that I've found useful is to have a piece of paper with you. And if you come up with a good thought, if it's in the middle of the night or not while you're driving, stop the car, write it down, and you can always incorporate it later into your business plan. And remember, as you start out, you're the whole organization chart. You get to clean the bathrooms and sell to customers. So just keep that in mind. You will have very, very little support unless you can coax your family and some friends to help you. You will also have talent gaps. Most people can't do everything, like they may not be able to do the accounting. So you're going to have to get someone on the outside to do that. You will probably need to have a lawyer, depending on the type of business you're in. If you're developing intellectual property, you'll need to have those types of attorneys. So it's important that you understand what your gaps are and how you're going to outsource those gaps. And you should always try to join forces, use Chamber of Commerce, local downtown trade organizations, a lot of chat rooms and meetings that you can attend to help you. And when should you speak to an attorney? If you're unsure, you should always get legal advice. For partnership agreements, if you're going to incorporate as an S or C corporation, then you're going to need an attorney. Attorney will develop subscription agreements for stock if you're going to be selling stock. You should also get them involved to review contracts and leases and for purchasing real estate. So what you need to know to to borrow money. A bank is generally looking for somewhere between 15 and 25% of owner equity for the loan, and they want a secondary source of repayment. Like I said, keep your day job or have somebody that will operate as a guarantor, or if you have huge amounts of collateral, sometimes that'll work. They will want personal financial statements for 2 or 3 years from each of the owners. And then the business plan with a projected 3-year financial data. And again, that's where we can help you. So what are some of the finance fundamentals? You should be responsible for keeping the books up to date. You should know enough about your finances to know what's going on wrong or going right and what's going wrong. And you can use any type of systems. You can use just Excel spreadsheets, or there's some various types of QuickBooks and other types of software that you can use to help you manage your finances. And then if you do hire employees, you're going to have to have additional requirements that you need to do. So, and if you're doing retail sales, then you got to file periodic sales tax, usually monthly. So that all has to be done. And retail businesses, you can use different types of POS systems, depending on your business, and they'll at least help a little bit in the accounting. And then at the end of the year, you're going to need to get a CPA. That's kind of it. What kind of questions do you have?
Hello, Bob. I put one in the chat. What are some good market research pages, maybe free online, that we can use to make sure the questions that you pose as to, the competition and if there's a need and such?
Yeah, we have some that we work with. We 2 or 3 that we work with, and the problem is they're expensive. So, but we can get that information for you. So when you meet with us, we'd be happy to get that information out to you.